But I'll tell you here, I'm pro subathon, man. What do I care? You know why I like it is because like all of my friends who stream, which is the only people I watch on Twitch now, they're all normies. They all stream in the morning to the afternoon their time. So when I actually get free time for 7 minutes a night at like 10:13 p.m., nobody's live. But then when they're in the subathon, they're all live, and I get to pop in and go like, yes, yes, and then go to bed.
Real quick, do you remember your script from when you used to beg for college money?
Not at all, no.
Oh, did you have a script?
Yeah, I mean, you have a script. It's like not a good job. Most of the people you call are not happy to be receiving the call. But it's crazy thinking back that like anybody was happy to receive the call. Then that summer, I worked at Goodwill for like 6 weeks, physically processing the donations, and that's a different world.
What? I mean, there had to be some amazing stuff. Did you get like tier 1 like rare Pokemon cards coming in and stuff, or what did you see?
Typically just garbage. Like
what do you mean?
Like
people donate garbage?
Well, on a literal level, yes. Like sometimes you would just show up for open, and there would be like garbage bags full of garbage in front of the Goodwill. And I imagine what happened is people said like, I have garbage, but I don't want to like feel like I've created waste. So they just give it to you to be like, maybe they'll sort through my garbage bag and I don't know, find some stuff that they could take to the recycling depot for 35 cents a pound. So we just threw it in the garbage. Sometimes people would just donate like old boxes from their attic, and it would have like food in it.
Ew.
Like unopened boxes of like Ritz crackers and stuff like that. So you know we were snacking. Depending
Did you ever
on the
find
age
anything
of the product.
Did you ever find anything like super good or like valuable?
Nah, not
Never.
at all. Not a single time. Most valuable thing you could get, clean T-shirts. That was pretty rare though.
Should we go level up?
It's probably a good idea. I don't think we should be fighting the giants anyway, but I will tell you what. So you know how Goodwill works, I'm sure. But for anybody who doesn't, it's a store that sells items that people donate in order to raise money for charity, essentially. I don't know how to vote, man. How do I vote?
Just go to the map.
I'll go to the map, and I will take us War Master Shack.
Yeah. How does this just work? How does this just work?
Seamless.
It just works. Sorry, go explain.
Yes,
Goodwill.
so people donate products and then you sell them. And I remember one day, it was like the best day of work because I was on the floor doing customer service and quote-unquote sales instead of processing garbage that people dropped off. And there was just a bin of miscellaneous items, right? And the lady called me over and she said, "Excuse me, can you help me?" And she was holding like blinds like that you would put on your window. And she was like, "I want to get these blinds, but like they're missing like this little piece on the end that you need to attach them to the window. Do you have it?" So I like dove into the barrel, Donkey Kong Country style, like on my like face basically looking for this little piece. And I was like scrounging through the barrel, and I'm like, "Sorry, we don't have it." And then she looked me in the eyes and said, "Well, can you order it in?" And I was like, politely, I was like, "Oh no, we can't do that here." But in my head, I was like, "Do you know where you're shopping? This isn't like, you know, Ryan's Blinds and Drapes. This is someone brought this in here, and then a 18-year-old kid like me looked at it and said, clean blinds? I don't know, $750, put it on the floor." We don't have like a warehouse with all the loose parts and stuff like that.
Was there like a certain genre of customers that would come in? Like, could you see like, oh, Timmy's looking for old electronics? Were there like certain people you knew were looking for certain things?
Honestly, I wasn't on the floor enough to know the regulars. I was that would have been a blessing. Instead, I was in the back rooms with the other ex-cons trying to like unload stuff from the back of someone's truck, and then you get it inside and it's just a bunch of old like soiled pillowcases, and you're like, "Well, I'm glad I slipped the disc getting that out of your F-150 for like $6.75 an hour or something like that." Canadian.
You did say other ex-cons, right?
Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, I've been to prison.
I can only imagine if an officer pulled you over for speeding. I'm
Yeah.
sure you had some quick one-liner cocked and loaded for him.
I'll be honest, I don't even know what I would do. Because I don't remember if I told you this story, but so, between Canada and the US, there's this thing called Nexus. It's kind of like TSA pre-check.
Yeah.
If you're going through the border and you have Nexus, they basically just go like, come on in.
You can just sprint. You can sprint through there, and they won't
pretty
say
much.
anything.
So we got Nexus. We went to the U.S., but we didn't get our daughter Nexus, which is our fault, I'll admit. But the reason we didn't get it for her was because she was 1 year old. So we were like,
Okay.
surely they don't need a Nexus for a little kid, because you have to go to an interview. Like, what are they going to ask our 1 year old? They're like, have you ever been convicted of a crime? Or it just doesn't make sense to us. But that's our bad. We didn't look at the forms, right? So we go into the Nexus line at the border, and the guard is like, well, there's only 2 Nexuses here, and there's 3 people. And then I said, yeah, we don't have one for our daughter. And he said, well, what are you doing in the Nexus line yet? And I said, well, I didn't think we needed one until she was older. He's like, no, you need one. And we could take your Nexus away for trying to get through the line without having a Nexus for her. And I just said, oh, okay, we didn't know. And then he looked at me and he was like, well, you don't care, do you? And I was like, I care, but we just didn't know. And he's like, well, I don't think you care. And I was like, well, I do. I don't know what you want me to tell you. And then we were kind of beefing a little bit. I feel like dude had prejudice against me because I have a deep voice and a calm demeanor. Dude wanted me to be like, oh, please don't take my Nexus. What would I do without the ability to go to Northern Washington and go to Fred Meyer? You have no power. What are you going to do? Turn me around and send me back to my house? You have no power here. We made a mistake. Get over yourself, buddy.
Can I just be devil's advocate here?
Yeah.
When he asked you if you cared, I'm sure you gave it in a semi-smug delivery.
I had a flat demeanor. I said, I care. I said, I care, but I don't know how to show it or something like that. I didn't know what he wanted from me. Obviously, he's not a good detective. Otherwise, he'd be working at the FBI, not at the, Peace Arch Memorial Crossing between Osuyos, BC and Blaine, Washington. Is it possible he's just not a good judge of character?
I mean, I've seen you say things that were not meant to be smug, but they were smugged up.
You know what I think it is?
What?
I think that I derive my behavior from a logical level. I behave in the way that I think is most logical given the circumstance. And a lot of other people derive their behavior from looking at the behavior of those around them and then mimicking it. So because I am you have no power here, I wasn't shaking, I wasn't quivering in my voice or something like that. And he's like, oh, you're not mimicking what an average person would do if they cared. I'm like, that's not really my problem. Everybody else is crazy, brother. I'm the only sane person here.
In your head, you looked at him and you thought you got no power over me, and your demeanor smugged that message to him.
I mean, I think it's possible, but what does he want me to do? Apologize for that being the truth? It doesn't make any sense. He can't do anything. I mean, he could do something. He could send me back to my house, but it would kind of screw up our morning, but then we'd probably just go out for dinner afterwards.
So let me ask you this: when is the last time you blew a gasket and lost your ish?
It's on anybody but Chad. I don't know. It's been too long to remember, honestly.
Really? There's been something happen where you just lost it?
No.
But aren't you just a shaked up 2-liter of ginger ale waiting to explode?
I don't know why everybody thinks that. I'm actually a pretty calm guy most of the time. I just have strong opinions.
So you were telling me you haven't yelled, not at chat, in the past 5 years?
I mean, okay. I've yelled stop at my child. Does that count? That's more of from a preservation standpoint.
Yeah. No, I mean you're like going to mow the lawn and the gas can knocks over and then you cut yourself on the blade and then the grass shavings are everywhere. You don't just like
I've
look
never
up
cut
and, like,
myself on the blade of my lawnmower. That's just. I
But,
mean,
like, you know
they're
what I mean?
designed
Like
not to chop your hands off. You got to work really hard to injure yourself on those.
But I'm saying, like, there's never been like a comedy of errors when like everything goes wrong. You fall down the stairs and you don't just yell like the F word or something.
I mean, not since I was like, I don't know, like 13 or something. I don't know what you want from me. You're kind of asking me. I feel like you're like, have you ever yelled at a stranger? The answer outside of chat is no. That seems crazy to me. That seems like you'd have to go to like anger management or something if you're out there yelling at a stranger.
I know, but sometimes there's never a situation. So like, you've been a dad long enough. I'm sure you've been around other parents who maybe are a little, you know, encouraging Johnny to do not nice things. You never like had some snide words for a parent?
Not yet,
Oh, all right.
but there have been times I've wanted to for sure.
All right.
But I try to show, like mercy to the other parents because I know it's not so easy. There are times, when their kid lays down like flat on their back on the slide, and then like your kid's at the top of the slide waiting to go down, and then you look at the parents, and the parents are just like shooting the breeze on the bench, not doing anything about their kid laying down on the slide. So then you got to become the parent, and you got to be like, hey there, slugger, you ever think about going down the slide? And then the kid is like, I don't want to, and you're like, well, okay. Don't know what you want me to do about this.
So I don't yell at strangers, but I've yelled at strangers twice in the past 2 years.
Okay.
But the situation is I'm coaching. So I coach a lot of youth sports because my kids are of age. Coaching a basketball team, and these kids, it's not basketball, but they play it's their little kids.
Yeah.
So the way the league's set up is each team has like a red armband, a green armband, a black armband, a white armband, a yellow armband. So you look at the kids and you kind of match them up by skill. So hey, if I got a red armband, I'm guarding the kid with the red armband.
I see,
like
yeah.
just. So
you're like ranking the kids within the team and then using that to like mark their man during the game.
Yeah, because you don't want like the best player against like the worst player.
Have you ever had to like demote somebody from gold armband to like purple armband? That's got to sting.
Yeah, but the kids don't know. They just want the color they want.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So it's the fourth quarter and like there's subs coming in and I'm like matching them up, and the other coach yells at me, goes, "What do you think this is, the NBA?" And like it was a tight game, and I look at him and I go, "Coach your own team, buddy." And he goes, "Well, this isn't the NBA." And I go, "Coach your own team." And then I looked at my son, and my son's kind of looking at me like, "Dad, what's going on?" And then I just backed into the corner and just let it go.
Why is he mad?
That's what I don't know. But to me, that's provoked.
Be honest,
Like,
though, were you winning? Like, were you up by 8 or something?
No, we were down by 1.
Oh, okay. So he was like, just take the loss.
Yeah. But like, what do you want me to do? Just sit there and like let him yell at me?
Yeah, no, it's weird. I think you're 1,000% in the right for that one.
So, but I get
And this
But
is like
what would you
a
have
team.
done?
Is this a team full of like 6-year-olds?
yes.
That's hilarious.
and it's like I'm matching these kids up so that they don't get, so they have a fun time, not that like their best player's on our worst player and that
exactly.
kid never wants to play basketball ever again.
Dude, that is really good though. I probably would have reacted the same way. I'm gonna hold on to that. Coach your own team.
That's what I mean. That's the only thing I think of, and not to mention like his team was stacked, and I got kids who got 2 left feet. But we're out here grinding, man, getting those rebounds.
And this isn't
right.
like, I don't even know if they have this for 6-year-olds. This isn't like, rep basketball. Like, they're not going to send someone to like an elite basketball elementary school or something like this.
This is like whatever kids are in the neighborhood and their parents want them to do something on a Saturday morning.
Oh, man. That is crazy.
All right.
This is a boss, huh? I forgot about this guy. This isn't the
Tibia
NBA.
Mariner.
Well, why if it's not? I mean, I get that we're on the same side here, but if it's not the NBA, why is he making subs, dude? Doesn't make any sense.
So I mean, if you want, and then full circle, I kind of had to eat it because at the end of the season, they like invited a couple kids to do like an after camp, you know, kind of like the better kids on each team just to do like a skills thing.
Okay, yeah.
And they invited my son. I'm like, yeah, we can go. And one of the two coaches that ran it was NBA buddy.
Oh no.
So I see him and I'm just like, what do you do? So I went up to him. I just said, hey, I'm Dan. I think we got off on the wrong foot. And he just kind of gave me a look. I'm like, all right.
Wow.
I know. What can you do? You take the high road and then.
Maybe taking it a little too seriously.
Yeah. But
you never know. He might be the next 76ers coach. The way that that series is going. Are we supposed to leave this guy alive? It was like a good lad or something.
No.
Ah, whatever. Oh my god, you're just beating it. I think he popped his head off, man.
You didn't see his neck?
Oh, dude. I haven't had anything like that yet, but I'm looking forward to it. We had our own nightmare I told you about in Discord. We had like an orientation for our daughter's kindergarten that starts in September. And the email, I swear to you, said families welcome. We were like, should we bring our daughter? Like, is it like a serious event for adults or is it like kids should come too? The email said families welcome. So I said, I guess we'll bring her. Lo and behold, 75 other families, 1 3-year-old there. And then it's like 90 minutes of like dry presentations about like, you know, how you should prepare for September and stuff like that, what our education philosophies are and stuff like that. I was like, oh, man.
Were you getting the look from the other parents?
Not the look, I would say, but like after the first half, I was just like, she can't sit here this long. So I took her to like the back of the auditorium and was just kind of like keeping her busy. Then at the end, there was supposed to be like a mixer so you can like mingle with the families. The principal of the school came up and said like, very politely, but they were like, just so you know, like she can't be here because we're going to serve wine. So like our insurance will eat us off the policy if there's minors here. We said, all right, nice to meet you guys. Have a great night. We'll see you in September.
Nothing like great first impression from the Letourneau family.
I know, man. And I was like, how did I misread the email? Like, the other 70 families were all like, oh, families welcome. That means no kids. But I was like, families welcome. I guess I'll bring my family. I'm not really. So I mean, it's just funny. I'm not mad about it, but.
What did families only mean?
I didn't say families only. It's families welcome.
Oh, families.
I wondered if there was like a little stipulation in the registration form, which I'm just going to say was not my doing. I wasn't the person who clicked on the link to register. Maybe there was like a little alt text that said parents only.
Let's go to Stormhill and fight Margit.
I think it's a great idea.
So this is, I feel like we could talk about this openly because it just is what it is, bro. Once you get her into school, starting to open up a little bit. You can start to breathe a little bit more, man. Well, she's in daycare right now, right?
Yeah, but our daycare provider's on vacation for 2 weeks, so Stormhill Shack. Right
it's
there.
far left, yeah. Kate, you know what I'm saying. Once she goes into school, then, you know, hours open up a little bit more.
I hope so. She's also going through like she's in an activity while daycare's off that goes from like 9 till 1. So
okay.
Kate drops her off in the morning, and then 2, my stream finishes. That's kind of like daddy time, but she's going through a phase where she thinks I'm like an evil person that she doesn't really like. So it's like, 3 to 8 hours of just like her being like, hi, daddy, don't talk to me. Hey, do you want to go to the playground? Nope, I want to play with mommy. And I'm like, well, mommy's working right now. Ah!
You know, I never relish in someone else's like bad stuff, BM. But you know, that makes me feel so good because I thought it was just me. But the other day, I went to get my daughter up for breakfast. I open her door. She's standing there. She sees me. She goes, "I want mommy," and slams the door in my face. And she's 2.5 years old. And I'm like, bro, that's not how it's supposed to be, man.
You're like, I'm taking the bullet right now, and you're out here making my life hard?
But it must be like a daughter thing. My sons weren't like that, but my daughters doesn't want to play with me either.
I'm like, it's crazy, man. So that was like 2 to 10 last night. Just getting,
So what did you?
Just getting like beaten on emotionally. I don't
So
like
when-
you, mommy. Mommy's smarter than you. Oh, you shouldn't say that. Mommy's funnier than you. I'm like, okay, now we're gonna have some words. No disrespect to Kate. I know she's in chat. I'm just saying that's supposed to be my main trait. That's what I spec'd into at the character creator.
So what do you? When she doesn't want to play, what do you do? And Kate's busy.
Well, I do my best to try to get her to not bother Kate while she's in her office. And then, I'll just set her up with like a book or something like that and kind of F off until she starts causing problems, basically.
Set her up with a good book.
I mean, for a while it was like, I try to like push through it. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but like, now I'm like, well, I don't want to see you right now either, to be honest. It's like, I got my own stuff I gotta do. I didn't come here to be yelled at. So when you get an attitude adjustment, let me know.
I will say that the great equalizer for me, those donuts. That's like if my daughter's in a sour mood, I'm like, you want to go get a donut? That usually like snaps her out of it.
Honestly, I mean, like, food has a lot of value. But I'm also, I don't know, like, as a parent, you, like, second guess yourself, right? So I'm like, I don't want her to, like internalize in the firmware of her brain that, like, acting badly equals eating sugar. Like, I just don't know if it's possible to tease that relationship apart later. Oh, they killed my horse. And now
I'm
they're
sneaking
gonna kill
around the
me.
side.
Oh my god. But anyway, like she's mostly chilling. It's been like 2 nights in a row where she didn't like wake up at 4 a.m. and then ask me to like just go in and tuck her in. So that's an improvement.
Oh, they got me.
Should I maybe I can go rest at the bonfire? in here?
Yeah.
Sorry, at the Grace? The Shrine of Grace?
It's letting me just come back in
Look at that.
instead of watching you. That's interesting. Dude, I know we're harping on it, but 3 megabytes of code. During a boss fight, I get to spectate you. Not in a boss fight, I get to spawn back in. I mean, that's... How did they... Do you think that co-op was in and then they just didn't release it?
Well, I mean, co-op is in.
But it's weird.
You can, yeah, it's seamful instead of seamless.
Yeah.
But then, like, I don't know. I was thinking about it too because I had to get this on PC last night and install it, right? And I was like, oh, maybe I'm gonna need to make some space on the SSD. Nah, bro. Miyazaki, he's packing it in like densely. All of Elden Ring is like 48 gigabytes. That's like a budget size for a game in the modern era. And it like runs well. Then you play like, no disrespect, but like Bob's first like physics platformer, roguelite, slot machine, Balatro, like fast follow, and it's like 4 gigabytes and it looks like it came out on the Game Boy Advance and it runs at like 3 FPS and you're like, what's going on?
All right. Are you in that Bonnie inside there?
I am. I'm chilling right here.
Okay.
Wee. Balatro's less than a gig? Yeah, well, I wasn't talking about Balatro. I was talking about Bingle Bingle. We put respect on local thunk here. Also, no disrespect to Balatro. Balatro doesn't have Horaloo. Okay?
I couldn't get into Bingo Bingo. Could you?
I didn't even touch it because for me it's like, hey, like Godfather Part 2 came out, and then like a week later, people are like, hey, are you gonna check out like Analyze That? I know you like Mafia games. There's another Mafia game that just came out. Hey, are you gonna go see Mickey Blue Eyes? I'm like, bro, we're just like, we just got The Godfather Part 2. Let me digest The Godfather Part 2 before we start doing like, you know, Mafia Mommy starring Toni Collette.
Bro,
Hey, you just had a T-bone steak. Would you be interested in having like a can of Spam? Just give it a chance. I will one day, okay? When all the meat's off the Balatro bone, then maybe it's time for Bingo Bingo.
I don't know how your brain works, man. How do you just pull that stuff out? No hesitation.
I'm society's
Mickey
last...
Blue Eyes?
You don't know Mickey Blue Eyes? Hugh
I
Grant's?
do, but I haven't heard about it in 40 years.
People went crazy over Mickey Blue Eyes. You couldn't shake a stick in 1997 without someone telling you about Analyze This. Whatever happened to Billy Crystal, man?
Isn't he hosting the Oscars?
Yeah, like in 1992.
What happened to him?
I guess he's probably just retired or something.
Ooh, take him out. Why doesn't Joe Pesci do more movies?
I think because he's like 87 years old. He's like insanely old to be working in any domain.
Yeah, but you tell me you didn't go to the theater to watch a movie starring Joe Pesci?
I didn't even see The Irishman, and that's like, you know, on my computer screen.
Yeah, but he's just a bit player in that.
I did see 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag, circa 1996, though.
Is that the one with Sylvester Stallone in the train?
I don't think so, because Joe Pesci's on the cover, and just Joe Pesci.
What is it? Stop My Mom Is Dead or something? What's it called?
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Yeah. Did you ever see that?
It's interesting because I think there's only like 4 years difference between us.
Okay.
But that's enough. Even like, and for myself as well. Like when I talk to like a 31-year-old, like we have different experiences. But like you kind of slip closer into that like Gen X sort of like Karate Kid, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, Goonies sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot is also, I'd say, a part of that. I've never seen it.
Neither have I, but what is Gen X?
Gen X, this is the generation after the baby boomers, between the baby boomers and the millennials. Probably, I'm going to say that it's like 1965 to 1982 or something like that.
Okay. But what should I be then?
I think you're an elder millennial.
Okay, but Gen X is pre-millennial. Sorry,
Yes.
I was clear.
But you're like there are millennials who were born in like the year 2000. So their experience in life is very different than yours or mine. And yours is a little bit different than mine, and mine's a little bit different than yours.
What was your first internet? AOL? Did you have America Online?
My first internet was a local ISP, which I also feel is like, it dates you a little bit. But I did have AOL at a point. Because at some point you got enough of those CDs in the mail. Like, you'd be stupid not to redeem them.
Was it called COL where you lived?
No.
No, it was still America.
It was still, yeah, you're right. It is weird. It's still America Online. How did I feel about that?
What was your local ISP called?
I mean, I don't really want to get into all that. I don't know if they want the smoke, you know?
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. I'm not in the business. You know what?
Your local ISP?
I was talking about this with, I don't even remember. It's crazy because it was yesterday, but I'm like, I don't remember the situation. But I was reading that there was an episode of Mythbusters where they tried to bust the myth that you can like make a bomb with stuff you can buy at the hardware store. They were like 99% sure that it was going to be busted, right? Well, they did the episode, shot the whole thing, and it exploded like a bomb. So then, yeah, you do the damage here. they said, what do we do about this? And they just scrapped the whole episode for public good. They were like, we can't get this information out here. It's like too dangerous for society.
Yeah.
I see this as like a microcosm. My ISP from 1996 didn't ask for the attention. So I'm not gonna give them the attention.
Ask for the attention, what, 100 clicks on their old website on GeoCities?
Yeah, I don't know, but it might be the most traffic they've gotten in like 20 years. Maybe it's gonna. I guess they're the ISP, so I don't know how it would raise their hosting prices. But I'm sure it's just not my. It's not my thing to advertise. That's for them.
But
man.
is that the reason why you're just embarrassed about the name of the ISP?
I didn't create the ISP. Why would I be embarrassed about the name?
Same reason you're embarrassed about Taco Time in Future Town?
Okay, Future Shop, great name for an electronics store. And Taco Time, I'm not even sure if that's Canadian, to be honest with you. I think that might be an American company originally. I've died, but you got this one. Look at those rolls. Taco Time's so bad. I've only eaten there once, and I would describe it as an acceptable mall food court meal. I had a taco salad inside of a hard-shell taco bowl.
Taco salad inside of a hard-shell taco bowl. I got it.
It's like one huge tortilla chip. Like, I feel like, don't you feel like there's a huge difference? Because like the world changed a lot and continues to change. But
yes.
The launch of like the mainstream adoption of the internet is like a moment in time that you like can't go back through. I feel like there's a huge difference between people who got the internet partway through their lives and people who were born into a world where like they had the internet right away.
What do you think the difference is?
Well, I don't mean like, what are you popping here, brother?
Souls.
Oh, runes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you're saying people who grew up with no internet, then got internet, are different than people who were just born into it.
Yeah, well, I think that there's natural differences in like your personality as a result of that, I guess is what I would say. I don't know what the differences are necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think like, okay, wait, just can you just relax? We're having a conversation here. Are we going to the roundtable hold or are we soloing Margit?
No, I'm leveling up real quick.
Okay, maybe she's just talking to me.
Okay. All right.
I just feel like that's like a generational divide. Is like, did you have a childhood of some noticeable length before the internet existed? For you, at least.
See, I think I'm a misnomer.
Okay.
Because I grew up with a 900 baud modem.
Right, yeah, that's like...
I was probably like 5 which was not the norm. You know?
Right, yeah, you had a tech-savvy parent or something.
Yeah. And then we had like text-based Prodigy and
right.
that kind of stuff.
CBS,
But
you were playing MUDs on the Usenet. I understand.
Nah, I never did that. That's
nerd stuff. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's something Mathis would have done. But
you're probably right, honestly.
But yeah, I mean, like I remember using that stuff and feeling like out of place. Like I'd go to school and like these kids have no idea, you know, the pogs that are out there.
I mean, we were still learning typing in school when I was in the 9th grade.
But you're already cranking out.
I could type faster than my teacher in the 9th grade. But like,
what was the message board that you met Josh on? NeoGaf?
It was not Neo. Don't put that evil on me. Again, I'm not just throwing stuff out there. One day, you are going to have all of your personal information compromised. And I'm going to have sympathy for you. But you're going to say something on stream. You're going to be like, how did this happen? And I'm going to just play back like a compilation of like all the times you gave hackers the ability to steal your entire identity.
What like when you say leak all my information, like what?
I don't know, like the password to a single account that contains all the information they need to get into all your other accounts.
Well, you think I would leak that?
I think accidents happen.
But you're saying I'm negligent enough to make that happen?
Yeah, if not for
What?
yourself, then for someone else. Didn't you post your address on Twitter one time?
No. Why in
I
chat?
remember
if you think
I
I'm
was
that
in
negligent,
a-
and in chat if no.
I was in a hotel with Kate, and I opened up Twitter, and I was like, Dan just posted an envelope on Twitter with his address on it. And then like a minute later, the tweet got deleted, and I was like, what is this guy doing?
I don't remember that.
I mean, like, this is crazy. You got to be careful out there a little bit. I'm probably
Didn't
a
you
little
leak-
paranoid, but like,
Didn't you leak your IP in Minecraft once?
I thought that I did because people in chat were like, press F6 or something, and then like a bunch of decimal point numbers came up on the screen, and I was like, any one of those could be the IP. You deleted the VOD? Yeah, because I asked chat. I was like, did my IP show? And then people were like, yes, delete VOD. And then I deleted the VOD, and people were like, oh, he deleted the VOD. I was going to watch that later. And I'm like, you're the one who told me to delete it, man. It was a bad day. So that's why that whole Minecraft situation where like people are like, we got you good. That's why whenever I change settings in anything, whenever I'm switching tabs in Google Chrome during the dulls, that's why I put the screen on black. It's PTSD from that one day. And people are like, I hate when he puts the screen on black. I'm like, you did it, brother. We were letting it fly. 2016 to 2011 or whatever. We were just showing it all. All it takes is one bad day.
Hey, what do you call it when I do that? You have a name for it. I forget what it is. When I just alt-tab openly.
You're crazy to me because you use display capture.
Yeah, but you call that something. I forget what you call that. Are you in here with me?
No, I don't know how you got in so fast, actually.
A little different.
Raw dogging it? That sounds right to me. I mean, that's crazy too, like, because I always know, if Dan sends me a message that's sensitive late at night, I try to make sure that the conversation goes long enough that it's not in view of the Discord window by the time the morning shows up. Because I'm not saying that it happens regularly, but it only needs to happen once. He's throwing out, not just alt tabs, but the alt tab where you hold it and then all of the contents of all of your windows show up on screen for 1,000 strangers to see. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It's too much for me.
What are you hiding? What? I got nothing.
That's
to
a
hide. What are we
misnomer. It's
hiding?
not I'm hiding anything. It's that, you know, I'm using one PC. Like literally, it's tax season right now. I'm getting emails from my accountant that are like, "Hey, we forgot your social security number. Can you pop it in here?" And then like, you know, you're doing it at 11 p.m. Maybe you forget to close the tab. I'm just trying to keep my risk level low. I'm not taking NetSec advice from somebody who posted an envelope with their shipping address on it. It's crazy.
There was a P.O. box. Speaking of, how come you got rid of your P.O. box?
It's just I didn't want the stuff that people were sending me, to be honest. I made Kate aware of that fact for like 5 years before the P.O. box even stopped. And then like I think finally she just didn't re-up it when we moved, and I was like, this is like a blessing for my life.
You made Kate aware. What did you say to her?
That I don't like the P.O. box. Like it, because like no disrespect, but if I like wanted that stuff, I would just buy it. So like most of the stuff that is being sent is like stuff that I don't want, which is fine. But like I don't want it. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation is that most of the stuff ended up in the garbage anyway. The fan art is nice. It's always nice to get the fan art. I'm talking more like, you know, 30 Star Wars action figures. You know, a sailor costume. We got a nice Blu-ray collection as a result of that. I'm grateful for that. Don't get me wrong. That's how we watch Game of Thrones.
People would send you costumes.
They were sending us all sorts of nonsense.
Like what? I know you got Star Wars action figures. Like
Why don't you
case
have a
of them.
PO box, brother?
I do. I just don't leak it.
What do you have it for then?
Just so people don't send stuff to my house.
Like so the mailman doesn't send stuff to your house?
Just if I have to give an address, like at Costco, I don't want them having my address, so I give them the PO box
Do you ever open your PO box?
once a month.
That's crazy.
What
So
do you
when you
mean?
open it up, it's just a bunch of junk mail?
No, sometimes there's good stuff in there, like checks.
Why are you giving me Why are the checks coming to the PO box, man?
Because for a while I had my insurance on double pay or auto pay.
Okay,
And then
yeah.
they like one day like normally I just throw all the insurance stuff in the garbage. I'm like I'm gonna open this one, and it was like a refund check. It was like you've been double paying us. You never get those
Okay.
checks every now and then.
It's usually a bill. It's usually like the opposite. It's just like we forgot to charge you. So like we lived here for a year, and then I got a letter from the gas company that was like, hey, you need to urgently register for like your natural gas. You're in like dereliction of duty. You haven't paid us for 12 months. I was like, you can do that? Isn't that kind of like your job to make sure like when the gas is pumping to my house, you got my information? I don't know how it works. I just turn the heat on, brother.
Wait, you had a year of free gas?
Well, not free. I had to pay for it. I didn't have to pay for it for a year. Then I had to pay
Yeah.
12 months all at once.
Yeah, but you got it for free, interest free. You made
It
interest
is
on
it
that
is
money.
interest free, and especially in today's rate environment, like that's not nothing.
All right, we can get this guy.
But the PO box is like I'm sorry if this offends anybody that sent us stuff. I'm sure the stuff that you sent was stuff that we use every day. And we got some things like we're still using a cutting board that was really nice that someone sent us that they made themselves.
What's on it?
My initials and Kate's initials.
Oh, that's kind of heartwarming.
Yeah, I mean that was like useful. I was happy to receive it. But then like the other thing is like I don't want to sound ungrateful like you give people an inch they take a mile. But like sometimes you would get like PO box media requests like for a game and you're like, "Well, you sent me an email." And I was like, "Nah." But then you like put a letter in the post with like a little action figure or something and it's like, "Hey, here's a code for our like mobile game that you didn't want to play when we contacted you the other time, but like now you have to read it out like onto the camera because you didn't pre-open all the mail to begin with." And I'm just like, I just honestly like the less, and not everybody feels this way in this business, but I feel like the less mechanisms that you have to contact me, the happier I am. I'm happy
I'm
you're
with ya.
watching. You don't need to send me like. Listen, you should know. If you bought an action figure or a copy of like Grey's Anatomy on PC, and then sent it to me, yeah, it ended up in the trash. And it's not my fault. You bought the trash. I didn't make the trash. I didn't buy the trash. I simply sent the trash to the destination that it was going to end up in, no matter what.
Well, why would someone send you a copy of that game?
Because it's like it's an inside joke that I played it in 2011 and never finished it.
But what would behoove someone to then take that joke and make it physically manifest?
I imagine they thought it was funny. And that's why it was annoying, because then you do the P.O. Box video where you open it up, and then people would be like, haha, I'm going to do the same freaking thing. So then the next time you do the P.O. Box, you got like 8 of them.
Wait, are there any of your PO Box videos with you like cringing or saying something rude in them?
I have no idea, because I've released like 12,000 videos. I was feeling it on the inside most of the time. Like, there was stuff that I was grateful to receive.
At the
That cutting
majority
board,
of it.
lots of Blu-rays and stuff like that. That's how I saw Ghost in the Shell. Oh, now we're
nice stun.
Take a hit. Take a hit. There you go.
No, I appreciate the letters and stuff, but like when a game company sends me like cologne and a USB drive and a double XL T-shirt,
Yeah, you're
I'm
like,
all,
I just don't, just save your money. Save your time and your money.
you know what? You know what I think? I'm like, I much would have rather you save that money and paid me more in the sponsorship.
It's also true. It's just, you know, it's just not my... It's too parasocial for me is the thing. I'm more than happy. People think like I'm a curmudgeon. Anybody who's met me in person, hopefully, will be happy to tell you. I'm always glad to stop for a conversation or a photo, a handshake, anything like that. It happens, you know, fairly frequently. But I don't want to do like a P.O. box unboxing of like, hey, remember that time you talked about this thing on stream? Here's a reference to it. And I'm like, why don't you leave the jokes to me, buddy?
Oh, I didn't tell you the other day, man. I went to, so my son really likes Madden on PS5. When I don't necessarily, he gets really frustrated though because there's like 8,000 menus. So I'm like, okay, let me slowly like fade away Madden PS5 and replace it with the NES.
Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, so I went to a local retro game store and I walk in and the dude's like, hey, do I know you from somewhere? And I'm like, I don't know. And I just happen to be wearing a red shirt and a black hat. And I'm like, okay, here we go,
right,
like
yeah.
Big Brother. And he goes, you play Fortnite with Northern Lion.
Hey!
and it's like, that's like extremely rare. Like normally it's like Big Brother Trader type recognition. And then, you know, I was like super nice and tell me he has like a YouTube channel and stuff. And, but the thing was, the whole time, and I would try to tell him, like I tried to like make small talk so it didn't happen. He was shaking.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
bro, I'm just a dude. And, but it was shaking. Like, does that, because when you said all that stuff about the P.O. box, I pictured someone like hand delivering a parcel to you and shaking it. Of like a knit crochet of like you or something.
That stuff is good to receive, by the way. It's more like when you buy something from a factory and all of a sudden I'm like, why do I have 12 Newt gun rays in my house? Yeah, it happens for sure.
It's in the trash. What's that emote? Satomari. Satomari. Sure emote. It's in the trash. It's in the trash.
I have no idea, man. I have no clue.
Someone in your chat said you threw that right in the trash. Oh.
I didn't throw it right in the trash. Like I waited until it felt like, you know, like you put it on the counter and you're like, maybe we'll find a place for this. And then like 2 weeks later when you're cleaning up, you're like, I don't think we found a place for it. Well, what am I, like, I don't think people, to be honest, I mean, obviously this is a biased take as I'm the streamer in question. But I don't think people like really give you the good grace to put themselves in your shoes. What am I supposed to do? Have a room in my house that's dedicated to me? This is weird, bro. I don't want to walk into a shrine of like chibi art of myself every day. That's not the vibe I'm trying to put out when I'm having other parents over for like dinner parties and stuff like that. It's weird.
I think you're probably the most normal streamer in the
I'm
planet.
realizing that.
You ever go to a convention and talk to someone who brags about a room they have, but nothing but chippy art of themselves?
You saying that while your body just fell off the cliff was so funny to me. Sir Soyid has fallen. It's just not my tempo, I'd say, personally. The things you do for love, though, right?
Oh man.
Speaking of which, I was talking to my wife about this, and we're trying to figure out what the... apologies if this is a sensitive subject, by the way. Why are you messaging me stuff like, hey, help, my wife's getting serious about the Disney cruise. What should I tell her? I told you my honest opinion. I was like, if you go on the cruise, you'll probably have a great time.
What do you mean? Like I said that because I'm like starting to panic. I'm like, this thing could actually happen.
Yeah, why? What's the problem if it happens?
Because that's everything I stand against. I'm not going on something that I constantly make fun of you for.
I see your point. It puts you on the rhetorical back foot. I can understand that, yeah.
And it's like every day she's dropping little breadcrumbs. And I'm like, how do I get out of this thing?
Well, first off, you're asking the wrong guy. Because I'm into the thing. So how would I know how to get out of it?
So what I did, what my method to combat this is like, okay, make it as good as possible. So I go, hey Ryan,
Right.
I go, if we go on a Disney cruise out of X, Y, and Z, do you want to go? He's like, nah. I'm like,
you have to work on the honesty of the phrasing, in my opinion, because
that's what you said.
You said, do you want to meet me in city then? And I said, nah, bro, we just got back from there, and it's a much longer trip for us, which is extremely true.
But you didn't even run it by Kate. What if Kate wanted to go?
We go on enough cruises. We don't need to add another one to the repertoire.
Kate?
You don't need me to go. You'll be fine.
I know I don't need you to go, but I'm like, also, it would be more fun.
It would be. Well, you should have come on our last one then. I guess we didn't really send out an invitation, though.
No. I'm not flying across country to go on a Disney cruise, brother.
First off, Michigan to Florida is not cross country.
No, Michigan to Vancouver.
No, that's insane. But we were in Florida. I mean, now that I said that's insane, that's not even that insane. That's, I don't know, it's probably like a 4-hour flight or something. They do run the cruise out of Vancouver in the summertime, but it only goes to Alaska. So we did that one twice, and we're kind of like, let's mix it up a little bit. No disrespect to Alaska. A little bit of disrespect to Skagway. Wouldn't catch me in Skagway like on purpose, but I understand they're doing what they got to do over there.
Wait, it's a place called Skagway?
Yeah, it's like it's for tourists basically, so it's like an old-timey, almost like Gold Rush, Wild West pioneer village type thing.
They couldn't come up with a better name than Skagway?
I mean, it was probably came up with it in like,
Nice
2
done.
2 BC or something.
I think that's our chance right here.
No, it's your chance.
No.
It's a pain in the butt to get to Florida, though, from the West Coast.
Really? You don't have a straight shot?
We have one straight shot a week. So if you're not going on that day, tough luck. We went down on that day on the straight shot. I think no problem. And then no, maybe we had a connection on the way down, but it wasn't bad. We had the direct flight on the way back, but there were thunderstorms because it's Florida, so they canceled our flight and put us on one with a layover the next day. And I gotta tell you, waking up with a 3-year-old at 7 a.m. Eastern time, because you've been in Florida for a week, and then not getting that 3-year-old to bed until like 1 a.m. Pacific time. Ooh, that's normally when people are like, I want to take my kid on a trip, but I'm not sure how they'll do on the plane. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's easy. You just, give them an iPad, give them some toys, give them some sugar. They'll be fine. This time I was like, I'm never doing that shit again. We're taking a different flight next time.
The realest thing I ever heard was that going on vacation with kids is parenting at another location. It's not vacation.
But that's kind of why I agree. That's kind of why the Disney cruise has some goat DNA in it, because you can drop your kids off at the kids club for a few hours a day and have a little you time.
Well, this is what I heard, and tell me if it's true. This is how my wife's been pitching me on it. She said there's like either a wristband or something that the kid gets that they can't leave without like the matching wristband of the parent. Is there some way to like?
Yeah, there's like the kids have like a watch basically, and then all the kids clubs are like decked out with security, like gates that close and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that your kids can't leave the club, or an alarm will go off, and they'll freak
That's
out
good though,
because they don't want to lose a kid, which I think makes sense. Get them.
Give me the extras, you piece. Yeah, I mean that does sound really nice. It's like 24/7.
Well, it's not 24/7. You can. Then they have fun.
Open.
Like that's what the people are like. It's like jail. Yeah, of course it's jail. They're like 6 years old. They need jail. Can't be like, oh, here we'll just give you like 3 hours of unsupervised time on like a ship in the middle of the Caribbean. Like that's insanity. Of course it's prison.
Don't die here.
That's like
Brian,
the best part about it. Plus they got like
Nice.
Nintendo Wii's and stuff in there. They do activities. Characters come by. They sign autographs. It was like a light in the darkness. First few times we went, our kid was dealing with some separation anxiety. She didn't do well in the kids club. We'd drop her off and get a text like 10 minutes later that there's like she wants to be picked up.
You just send that text right to voicemail.
No, we're like, oh, and then we'll go pick her up. But this time, she could stay for like 2-3 hours at a time if they had a good activity. It's a world changer.
No, I mean that's like to me, that may be the XY variable that at least moves the needle a little bit.
Especially, I think for you guys, it would be a little even easier because A, 2 of your kids are a little older, and B, because your youngest would have siblings there, it might be a little easier for her to adjust.
Yeah, it's like you're just somewhere with a bunch of large furry animals playing games and stuff, but not scary because your brothers are there with you.
Exactly.
I got
And you're
you.
like, nothing could ever happen to me. My 6-year-old brother will. There's some truth to it, but also, like as an adult, it's a funny thought. It's like me as a kid when I was home alone. I was like, oh, if someone breaks in, don't worry, the cat's got it. No sweat. We're on.
Here we go.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Oh.
I was just mashing, to be honest. That wasn't a serious attempt. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would recommend it,
Pelotons on
though.
the Disney cruise.
So I think I told you this before. They have the bikes you clip into, but you can only use them during like their spin sessions. Otherwise, they all get piled up in a corner. But they have like normal exercise equipment. First day, I don't know, 2 cruises ago, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna work out on the cruise. I'm up at 5 a.m. anyway. I might as well. The sea was a little angry that day. I walked on the treadmill for 60 seconds just as a warm-up. Started to jog. 30 seconds into my jog, I was like, this isn't right, brother. I was like insanely sweaty and my stomach was doing flips. Went out and sat on the couches outside of the gym for like an hour and yacked in the toilet.
Too much seasickness.
Seasickness.
Is
Normally,
that the only
I
time
don't.
you've had it on a cruise?
I don't get it very badly, but that time was bad. But then what's crazy is like, it was still bad after I threw up. But then at lunchtime, my body was just like, I'm hungry. And then I was over it for the rest of the voyage.
That's good. I mean, I wonder how long something like that lasts. Shoot.
Some people
got
get
it.
it like the whole time. So yeah.
I know if I told you this story, but I think last week or maybe the week before, I took my kids to a Red Wings game because it was like actually mattered.
Yeah,
And,
they were in the hunt.
Yeah, and so I just bought like I didn't even look at the tickets. I just bought them, and we go into Little Caesars Arena, and my son looks at me and goes, "Dad, we're not all the way at the top, are we?" And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." So then, which also, side note, I didn't know that you can't walk into a hockey game while the game is on.
Yeah, the ushers tell you to wait until the play is done.